Hello and welcome to the Hopecast with Rachael Flick. Rachael is a speaker, inspirational author, and an overcomer. As Rachael is walking through her own journey of grief, she's challenging others to persevere and overcome their own circumstances. Find out more at rachelflick.com. Here now is your host, Rachael Flick.
Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's episode of the Hopecast with Rachael Flick. I'm here at the Waymaker World Conference in Orlando for the American Association of Christian Counselors. Today I have the honor of bringing you Dr. Gregory Jantz. Dr. Gregory Jantz is a popular speaker and the author of over 40 books, including So Much to Live For, Healing the Scars of Emotional Abuse, Healing the Scars of Childhood Abuse, and Overcoming Anxiety, Worry, and Fear. He's also the founder of The Center, a place of hope based in Washington State. Today it is recognized as a top 10 facility for the treatment of depression. Dr. Jantz is a nationally certified eating disorder specialist, a state-certified chemical dependency counselor, and a licensed mental health counselor. From TV to radio, Dr. Jantz has shared his expertise in more than 2,000 interviews, including CNN, Fox News, The Dr. Phil Show, and The 700 Club. Welcome, Dr. Jantz.
Good to be with you today. And boy, we have an important topic.
Yes, we do. So, Dr. Jantz, your most recent book, The Anxiety Reset, a life-changing approach to overcoming fear, stress, worry, panic attacks, OCD, and more, is an incredible resource. I'm looking forward to talking to you about that today.
It's a book for our season we're in.
We have a lot that we need from this.
So right now, I would say we're in a anxiety pandemic.
Yes.
As well. Probably the new virus out there is anxiety. Everybody can relate.
That's so true. That's so true. Should we call it which variant is that?
Yeah, which variant? This is the
anxiety
Yeah,
variant.
This is the one that most everybody has now.
Right.
And anxiety is misunderstood. There's, it was said that depression was the number one issue this is kind of pre-COVID, and the World Health Organization said depression's the number one issue facing the world, and they call it a disease, so that's above heart disease, cancer, but now, today, anxiety and anxiety disorders, and there's different types we'll talk about, but anxiety disorders have really taken that number one spot. And what we know is we've had a lot of chronic stress that people have come through, and it's unrelentless. It hasn't stopped. It's different a little bit depending on where you live, but we're living with a lot of fear, and then we're living with a lot of uncertainty about the future. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, it produces anxiety.
Do you think that there's been any cultural or technological shifts that have impacted how much anxiety we're suffering from?
Well, one of the things is we have probably over-digitized ourselves.
Right.
And for some folks, they've become oversaturated with news and information. And what happens is they don't know what to believe. There's a lot of distrust out there. And remember, distrust breeds anxiety. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of been in a ticking time bomb situation. What's happened is anxiety, and I think of fear, it runs in herds. It was, if you remember a while back, we had the toilet paper craze. I think
remember that.
I think it started in Seattle at a Costco.
Oh my gosh.
Where everybody, it started in one place, but after a while, everybody was going and buying toilet paper, paper towel, anything paper.
It's so interesting.
So
how did we pick that?
Yeah, because it has nothing to do with a virus, has nothing to do with COVID, but that's the result of fear. So, it's like my neighbor bought a few cases. I guess I better do it too. And so that's how fear works.
What do they know that I don't know?
So, exactly.
I better get on that train.
Yeah.
So you said fear runs in herds.
Yeah.
So it's kind of contagious.
So fear is contagious. That's why I say anxiety is the new virus, because fear breeds fear. And it causes us to do irrational things. So anxiety stops our ability to make rational decisions. People start to look through the lens of anxiety, of all the what ifs, and we become our point of focus is on fear. And there's something happening right now, and the term I'm giving it is anticipatory anxiety.
Yeah, dread.
So that's the gloom and doom. That's, well, what if this happens? People are waiting for the next thing to happen. You talked about, okay, so we got COVID and now we got Delta. Well, we just now heard behind Delta are 24 more variants.
Right.
Okay, get on the
Right.
train. Here we go. The fear continues.
Well, without signs of stopping.
So
you know?
that's the thing. Yeah. So anxiety then, after a while, people get weary, and anxiety affects, you want to isolate. And this is why we're seeing an uptick in addictions. There's a lot of addictions. This work from home thing that people tried to do really wasn't successful at all. What's happened is, I recall working with some technology folks, and they said, I started to drink alcohol about 4 o'clock when I was working from home, and then after a while I started drinking at 1 o'clock. So they're working, they're at home, and they're writing computer code, but they started drinking at 1 in the afternoon. So and I talked to an HR person at a major technology company and said, yes, that's a real problem. People working from home and alcohol. So the whole area of addictions, we're seeing a great increase in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Due to anxiety.
So what are some of the less common or more socially acceptable ways that people self-medicate their anxiety?
Well, and
Because we
do.
all think about substance, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's check out.
Well, maybe for some it might be food. For others, it might be alcohol. There's a lot of misuse of prescription medications right now. So depending on where you live, we've had periods of time where the anti-anxiety medication Xanax is a real popular one. But we've had supply chain issues. In other words, there's been so many prescriptions written for this medication that for certain periods of time, there was a shortage.
Yeah.
So numbers and stats are kind of hard to know what's reliable, but we're being told that at least 1 out of 4 folks in the U.S. have some significant anxiety. So it's probably higher. We've all been affected by this.
Yeah, absolutely. So in your book, you talk about what is your anxiety type.
Yeah.
What is your anxiety type? Would you mind sharing some more about that?
Sure. Anxiety types. There is the generalized anxiety disorder, and that's probably what we're seeing the most of. You wake up in the morning, and it's just that free-floating sense that, wow, I can't shake off this fear. And so you usually have a hard time making decisions. You may have some really disruptive sleep with the generalized anxiety. But, that can lead us on to obsessive compulsive disorder. And it's all about trying to get control of something. For example, for a while, everybody was afraid that COVID was going to be transferred by touching surfaces. Okay, but we know now 99.9% of it's not. It doesn't go on surfaces. But people are still afraid. We're still overusing all the hand sanitizer. People are overly afraid because of fear. Now, I remember working with a person. They said, when I did my grocery shopping, we have also new terms now. We got PPE. We've got all this new language.
Yes.
We didn't used to have. So they said, I'd go in my groceries. I'd wear gloves. They'd suit up, and I'd get home, go into the garage, drop all their clothes off, because they can't touch anything.
Right.
Put the groceries on a table in the garage, shower, clean up, go back to the garage, take the wipes, and wipe all the food you just bought because of fear.
Yeah.
So fear will drive us to do extreme behaviors, and some of those behaviors are irrational.
So we have general anxiety, OCD.
Right. I would say we have panic disorder. That's another one. Panic disorder. We're seeing a lot of folks struggle with sleep-related issues, and we're seeing folks that'll wake up in the night kind of gasping for air, just kind of having a panic attack in their sleep, and they can't get back to sleep. It's that sense that you're wide awake, but go, wait, I just woke up from a deep sleep. So your body physically is responding to this anxiety in the form of panic. So that can happen when you sleep. It can happen as you're driving down the road. So panic disorder. And, one of the things that happens is fear immobilizes us. It's hard to make good decisions. Chronic fear does affect our brain. So if you're living with chronic, and what are we into this? 2 years into pandemic or whatever you want to call it. So we're 2 years of this chronic stress. Well, what we know is chronic stress causes our body to produce too much of a chemical called cortisol. It's just pumping through the body. And after a while, that stress on the brain, and I'm pointing here to my forehead, the prefrontal cortex. And this is the part of the brain where we're supposed to make good decisions. Wise decisions. This is the thinking part of the brain. Well, decreased blood flow because of chronic anxiety. We're seeing a lot of impulsive behavior. We're seeing irrational decisions, so poor judgment. And it's really because of the effects of chronic stress and anxiety on the brain. So this affects the whole person. And there's even a spiritual side.
It absolutely does. Okay, so tell us about social anxiety disorder.
Oh, social anxiety. Here's a fun one. Fun one. That's probably not the right way to put that.
You might have written a book on anxiety if you're like finding the humor in it, right?
Social anxiety.
Yeah.
So this is really interesting. Look what's happening to our kids. Our kids are hopefully going back to school. We tried virtual learning. It didn't work. By the way, the year 2020, we had the highest academic failure ever. Ever. So kids are not doing well. So now they're back in the classroom for the most part, but you can't touch your teacher. You can't, there's all the new rules. And I have to wear a mask in my classroom. And so what we're doing is we're perpetuating fear.
Right.
And kids are afraid.
Well, and the brain doesn't learn in a state of fear. It's literally not physically capable of it.
Yeah. So what's happened? Kids are afraid. So that's social anxiety. What about the person that I've isolated for so long, now I'm starting to go out, but all the social rules are different. It's like, okay.
May I shake your hand?
Yeah,
Should
do I
back
shake
away?
your hand? Do I hug you? What? Touch, no touch? What is it? So all the rules are different, which creates anxiety.
Yeah, I found last year during COVID that I had anxiety going to the grocery store, not for my fear of getting COVID, but for not knowing how other people would respond to me. I literally saw a woman almost dive into the cornflake box aisle in Costco to get away from people that she perceived to have broken her social barrier, and it was like, well, that was a severe reaction to a grocery cart, like it could have been a snake in her mind.
Right. Undue and irrational fear. Exactly.
So one of the anxiety disorders is also for phobias.
Oh, sure. Phobias. Well, I think for a person that's already struggled with germ phobia, so to speak, and you're already that clean and neat freak, well, COVID is the perfect storm. We've got an invisible enemy here that we've got to battle. And so people who struggle with phobic reactions, that's the person, I can't get this clean enough, etc. So a phobia usually leads on to that obsessive compulsive behavior because I have to do something about it.
Right, because you feel so powerless in fear.
And, for those that are listening, if these are things that you're struggling with, we've all walked through this. These are real things, and believe me, we've all struggled with this anxiety in some way. Yeah. So we're in this together.
Can I circle back around to the kids?
Sure.
So I was working with teens and young adults, and I teased that panic attacks were my bread and butter, right? Like they were always calling me in to help someone come down from panic, and they had, they're at camp, so they don't have their technology, they don't have their routines, they don't have the things that make them comfortable, they don't have control over their food or what they're doing, and then they're hot and tired and dehydrated, right? Like, it's a perfect storm.
Right.
But what I saw across the board is suicidal ideation is up. For psychotropic med use in kids is through the roof compared to previous generations. What is going on for our kids? Why are they struggling so intensely so much earlier?
I wrote a book recently on a topic I never thought I'd ever write on. The topic is suicide, and how can we help a loved one who is contemplating or in a serious place of suicidal thoughts. The book is So Much to Live For, which is the truth. It's the second suicide. It sounds just so strange to say it, but suicide is the second leading cause of death for our 12 to 17-year-olds.
Wow.
In the county that I live, last week they just released that for 10 to 17 in the county I live in, suicide is the number one cause of death.
Wow.
Now that's you're
heartbreaking.
Saying 10 years old. So what's going on? Kids feel apathy and hopelessness for the future. And they have had to deal with everything going on is not normal. We're not doing normal developmental stages. Their lives have been so disrupted. And we're also seeing addiction start at younger ages. And addiction at younger ages, the average age to exposure to pornography is age 9. So we're seeing a lot more issues start earlier.
Yeah. Do you feel like any of that has to do with social media?
Oh, social media. There's a fun one.
Right?
Yes. Social media. So for our kids, that's the primary source of their information. Well, maybe for some adults too. We all need to take a big social media break here and set up some new mental guardrails. People are oversaturating themselves. And I call it's the doom scrolling. And you just won't stop.
I feel that in my body when you say that. What's next?
And so social media, as far as self-esteem, kids, Instagram, okay, they're making comparisons. Do I feel better or worse about myself after being on Instagram? Well, you're going to feel worse.
Yeah, well,
For the most part.
They call it fake booking, right? Like
So,
you can craft whatever you want on your feed,
Yeah.
and that doesn't have to represent real life in any way.
That's right.
And so they compare themselves, and then they're coming away from that. So as a professional, what do you recommend as a general boundary for kids in that, 12 to 17, which is a pretty wide developmental range, honestly. But would you cap your kids' social media usage?
I would certainly make it a topic we're talking about, and I would work with them on what is healthier social media. Some of the things going on now are not good, and it's easy for a kid to step into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was working with a situation where a kid was doing some really inappropriate things on Snapchat, and he thought, I can delete that. No. I watched a detective plug a device in the back of his phone, and it pulled off all his deleted Snapchat. Remember, there's implications for things that we put out there, and kids don't have a sense of that.
No, they don't. I think that's really important. So one of the things that you included in your book is overcoming obstacles and finding freedom. What can people do who are suffering from anxiety?
Well, I think we're doing the first step today. We've got to be aware of this is going on. Let's be truthful and honest about it. And fear wants to isolate you, so we want to do just the opposite. This is a time we need each other. This is a time where we need to reach out. If this has been going on for you and you can relate to some of the things I'm talking about, it's probably time to do the next step, which is I need to get some more information. Maybe it's through a book. I may need to get some help, because anxiety has a pretty predictable course. If you look down the continuum, anxiety can take you to the end, which is despair. We don't want to get close to despair. Despair is when I have those suicidal thoughts. Despair is when I don't see any hope for my future. So we want to stay away from that. That means I probably will need to ask for help.
Mm-hmm. So what are some of the things that people can do, body, mind, and spirit, to help themselves in their journey to overcome anxiety?
Well, if you're feeling anxious, usually we need to change our physical setting. Go out for that 20-minute walk. Get outside. Always move physically. It may sound simple, but you need to move physically, so change your setting and do something physical. I just use going for a walk as an example. Maybe what you need to do too is make sure you're getting enough water. When we're anxious, we tend to drink less water and more of other things.
Like coffee.
Well, I just talked to a guy who said,
I'm attacked.
Yes, yeah. He said, I'm up to 12 cups of coffee a day.
Woo!
You go, well,
That's
that's
my man
probably
right
not helping. Probably not helping the anxiety.
But coffee's so good. But you're right. More water. Okay, more water. You're moving your body.
Yeah,
What else?
I think nutrition. When we're anxious, we tend to either avoid food or we're doing the opposite and we're overeating a lot. So really, what's going in your mouth is a good place to start.
Yeah.
And do you have somebody who's going to come alongside you? Do you have somebody that really believes in you, that will pray for you, be a support person, tell you the truth? This is not the time to go, I'm going to do this all by myself.
Right. We really need that. And I think, fear loses its power in the light. Like when you start saying the things out loud that are ruminating for you, that little hamster on the wheel, people can speak into it. We can start shining light in there, and it kind of starts to lose its grip for us. What about some mental tools for anxiety?
Well, I think we got to work on renewing our thinking. What does that look like? Well, maybe when you go out for that 20-plus minute walk, maybe we can do the old-fashioned 3x5 card, and maybe we can put even a verse on that. And when you're out walking, pull that out and say that out loud. It could be the verse from 2 Timothy 1:7 that the Lord has not given us a spirit of fear. That tells there's a spiritual side to this. A spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Okay, I'm going to do those things that create a sound mind. What does that look like? Well, I got to take care of my physical health, which includes my nutrition, includes my exercise. That's super important. Maybe I have to develop new sleep hygiene and how I'm taking care of sleep. I may need to look at my relationships. I may need to look at how much news or social media I'm consuming. Am I oversaturating myself and it's creating fear? Those are just a few thoughts.
Those are wonderful. Dr. Jantz, you are clearly a wealth of information and research. If people want to know more about your work, where can they find you?
The easiest is just A Place of Hope, aplaceofhope.com.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for being here with me today on the Hopecast.
You got it. There is hope.
There is hope. There is hope. It is not lost. And I think, to hear you talk about it with confidence is really empowering.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Hopecast with Rachael Flick. If you would rate, review, and subscribe to share the message of hope with others, that would be so helpful. Everybody know that you're cared for, loved, and prayed over, and I'll catch you next week on the Hopecast with Rachael Flick.
You've been listening to the Hopecast with Rachael Flick. To find out more, go to rachaelflick.com. While you're there, you can book Rachael for your next speaking engagement. Her inspiring message will be sure to engage and touch the heart of your audience at your next conference, church event, or business function. Go to rachaelflick.com to book her today. While you're online, you can discover more information about all of the platforms that this podcast is on. Also, be sure to click on the social media icons at the top of the page, and you will be directed to Rachael's social media sites. If you listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, we would appreciate if you would subscribe and leave us a review. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time for another edition of the Hopecast with Rachael Flick.